Green light, they're away.
And they're all in their positions, ready to go. There's the light up.
In true Mildura style.
The green light's on. It was a beautiful start.
He's trying to get across.
Hello, welcome to Burning Questions, a mammoth 11-race card to look at here at Melton on Saturday night. I can't remember the last time we had 11 on the program. It's Saturday, June 7. That'll be when the meeting is. Today is June 6, and I'm joined by three of the stars of the game. We'll start with you, Andy Gath. Really appreciate you jumping on. I gave you a week off, so you would have missed me last Friday, wouldn't you?
Oh, no doubt. So, but luckily for me, you rang me during the week to sort of get your quota back up.
Yeah, I did. I'll give you a couple of buzzes. Mattie Craven, couldn't get him last week. He had a few errands to run, but he's found a spot in the paddock somewhere there. Matty, appreciate you jumping on as well.
Thanks for having me, Toc. I think you must be getting the bottom of the barrel to get me.
No, not at all. And
No.
Anthony Butt, I don't reckon Ants has ever said no to me, Ants. So you must have a little soft spot for me.
Always happy to oblige, Tim.
Good stuff. Righto, boys. Let's get stuck right into it. APG's National Mix Sale is back again and coming to you twice in 2025, with the online auctions taking place in May and August and featuring weanlings, yearlings, stallions and broodmares. These two sales really do have a horse for everyone. Find all the details at apgold.com.au. Fighter Command gets Ants in the bike, but from 7, is he the one we should like? Race 1 is the Pride's Easy Feed Free-for-All over the 20-metre trip. We're talking about Fighter Command. I might come straight to you here, Ants. Your first drive on this Jess Tubbs-trained pacer. I do know from talking to Greg over the journey, he had a real soft spot for this guy. And, of course, he went through that really tough, I think it was a colic procedure, and he was able to make it through, and he looks to be in pretty good form. Barrier 7's difficult in a free-for-all, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Tim. Yeah, like I said, he's a pretty good horse by the look of him. He's won 11 out of 16 and had that hiccup before the Eureka that year. So he seems to have come back pretty good, but it's a pretty big ask. He comes in the 6, but he's still going to be the outside the front row in a pretty good field. So yeah, I don't know how I'll approach it, but I guess I'll get the instructions tomorrow night. But you could never count him out, but the draw makes it tough.
Yeah, it does. I know you haven't spoken to Jess about it yet, Ans, but I'm going back to when he won in weaker grade. I think he went to the chair and won easy. Do you anticipate, you'd probably go forward, and he feels like a tougher horse than a faster horse? I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, like just by watching a few of his replays, he hasn't got sort of blazing gate speed, so I doubt he'll be in the early battle, and then it'll be just a matter of when you want to get up there. It's hard over the mile if they don't back off. So, but yeah, he's a horse that can make his own luck a bit, and he'll either be mid-race moving or sort of coming with one run a fair way out.
Okay, good stuff. That's Fighter Command for Jess Tubbs and Anthony Butt. Mattie Craven has Young Bluey. Matty, you're one of 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 unlucky horses there last Saturday night. He hit the line good.
Yeah, he was terrific, Toc. He just would have been nice maybe just to have been leaders back, but it didn't work out that way. But it was just good to have him hitting the line strong, and it's going to be a different story this week. Drawing the back line over the short trip. I think it's going to be a tough ask for Bluey this week. But anyway, he seems happy, so we'll go around and see how we go.
Is he going as good as ever, Matty? He feels like he is. I reckon, he's showing that he's a genuine free-for-all customer.
Oh, look, he's racing, lovely and consistent, and he's not up with probably the real good ones, but in your average free-for-all, he's sort of always going to be thereabouts with the right run, and I think that's the key. He needs the right run, and especially at Melton, and you need to be on the fence or having a cosy trip for him anyway to be sort of using that speed late.
Who do you think the horse is to beat, Matty?
Well, you talk about Fighter Command. He's drawn, the outside, the front row, first up for 6 weeks. It's going to be a huge ask for him. But, he's a horse with, raw ability, and it wouldn't surprise you to see him right in the finish. But I think it's a pretty tough ask this week. Interesting race, Sahara Breeze drawn 1. When I initially looked at it, I thought, it's probably ideal for her, and if she happened to hold up and maybe hand to either a car rebel or can't find a better man, I think those three are going to be finding it hard to fight it out. It's going to be hard to beat any of those ones. But I'm not too sure. Can't Find a Better Man was terrific first up. And if he found the front easy this week, and whether Chris Alford taking the drive is a lead to what he thinks, well, maybe could be a winner.
Yeah. Andy must have fancied his chances with Tangatara. He's left us. So we will move on to the second of our questions. Just for the record, I reckon Rakiro Rebel, going back to that first race, I reckon I'm a little surprised the market has Can't Find a Better Man favourite, to be honest. Can't Find a Better Man at 260, Rakiro Rebel at 350. And my padding worked out beautifully because Andy Gath is going to rejoin us. Andy, the viewers had to listen to me there for a couple of minutes while I waited for you to rejoin.
Yeah.
Did you leave because you thought Tango Tara couldn't win, or you didn't want to tip everyone into it?
No, Tango's racing as good as he ever has, but as you know, back with Matty on the second row draw is going to be pretty tough. And Fighter Command, we were talking about, he's a great horse. What he's already achieved going forward, but only having 16 starts and taking on these hard season 3-4 horses is going to be pretty tough for him. So you think whoever gets on the pegs early, or the winner's going to probably come from Can't Find a Better Man or a Kero Rebel or Sahara Breeze, which they're all opportunity been on the pegs, I'd say. So I think those three will be fighting at the finish.
Yeah, I'll go with Rakiro Rebel. I reckon she can get across the 1 and maybe hand to the 5 and Can't Find a Better Man, and I reckon she's pretty quick up the lane. She was very unlucky last weekend.
Hopefully she backs up, because she has to chase pretty hard last week to get the mobile.
I was going to try and move on to question number 2, but you just snuck it in there. I'm not on track on Saturday night, so Bronte Nuremberg can navigate getting clear of the track. Rakiro Rebel for me, Andy. Thanks for that. I thought I might have been able to press on to question 2. Pride's Easy Feed stand as a proud supporter of the harness racing industry with their set recipes and quality ingredients to give the trainer confidence in what they're feeding. So make the switch to Pride's and start getting the result you've been chasing. It's been a long wait for the Chubb, but will he return to the Winners Club? We're talking about race 8 on the program, the last leg of the main quarter at 8:53 p.m. Horse 1 here, Plymouth Chubb, Peter Manning, Karen Manning. I'll go straight back to you here, Andy. Your bloke's flying. What's up, party time? Looking for 4 straight wins. I suspect that Plymouth Chubb and Kez will want to hold up here and have a crack and try and go all the way. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, I think so, especially over 1,700. It's got pretty good gate speed, Plymouth Chubb. I doubt we could cross it. Anything could cross it. So the only concern for it, obviously, going to have a main danger on its back for is in Artiste, whether she thinks it might have too much speed for it. He's going terrific, my bloke. He's won his last 3. We know he excels over the short. Even though he's drawn 2, he's probably not drawn the lead, so he probably has to send to death and win, which he's been able to do previously. So it's getting better each run, Plymouth Chubb, but it's been out of the winning circle for the last 22 starts, and it's a long time without winning to take short odds, I'd say. And Albie and Tay's horses are going really good too, knocking on the door, and Harry Stamp is going well. So it's still a quality race. I see What's Up Party Time sort of drifting a little bit. He might get out to sort of pretty good odds, but I still think he's the one to beat.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, $1.70 out to 225. What's Up Party Time? Plymouth Chubb 340 to 280. And I'm going to go with Parisian Artiste at 420. Just looks to be back in some really good form and probably going to get that nice run. I'll come to you here, Ants. Harry Stamper, he's going as good as any of these, in my opinion. Just the draw again for him makes it tough.
Yeah, that's right. He's going really good. It's probably as good as he's gone for a long time. And last week's run, or 2 weeks ago, was really good behind Andy's horse. But the draw makes it tough again. He's got really good gate speed, but not enough to get across those inside ones. So he's sort of a bit in no man's land, really, especially if Plymouth Chubb holds the lead. And then Andy's horse in the death, and Albie sitting in there, or Tay in the trail there. So yeah, he's we're aiming to go to the end of the Minions. We've sort of been heading towards that. So I'll talk to Joe tomorrow night and just see what they want to do. Whether we just go back and drive him for one run again, and probably takes him out of being a winning chance. But maybe we just look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, hopefully you get a couple of draws up in Queensland. Might be the go, Ants.
Yeah, well, this level you always need draws because they're all good horses and they're all pretty even. Yep.
Matty, you're not involved here. Did you have a thought? It looks a looks a great little race. I think there's 3 key chances personally, and I'm going to go with Prezi and Artiste. If I gave you $100, what would you do as a punter?
Oh, look, possibly be with you, Toc, just with the run that you think Prezi and Artiste might get. Like I've been following Chubb and saying that he's going to win soon. Each week, he seems to run a really positive race and say, he's going to win next week, but he just keeps finding one that's probably either getting a better run or just a little bit better than him. But he's definitely knocking on the door. And credit to Andy with What's Up Party Time. He's just taken him to another level since the Great Southern Star. And when horses are, in that vein of form and with that confidence, it wouldn't surprise you that he, even if he had the death seat and win this race, like he just seems to be really believing in himself. And the job that Andy and Kate have done with him is a real credit to him.
Yeah. Still 50-50 on the Inter-Dominion with him. Andy, What's Up Party Time?
Yeah, obviously, the main concern is the distance that it's over, the 3,100. We know he gets, sort of 2,200 sort of sees him out, but he's going well. So decision hasn't been made yet. So obviously, when it gets a little bit closer, we'll make a decision.
Okay, and who will you have up in Queensland?
Catch a Wave, Call Me to Breeze, and Tango Tara at this stage, and Hector. So yeah, there's 4 at the moment, but could be a few more.
Okay, good stuff. And maybe the way Geordie's going, he might be the new stable driver. He could do them all, couldn't he?
Yeah, that's it. He'll manage no matter where he goes. We call him the inform Jordan Leadham now, so he's sort of changed his name now.
Yeah, he is flying. Good on him. Move on to question number 3. Logical Staffing Solutions provide labour hire and recruitment services to the transport, warehousing, automotive and manufacturing industries. The logical solution for your staffing needs. Matty holds the key with All Blazing Guns, so will he attempt another of those all-the-way runs? Race 9, Mattie Craven trains and drives All Blazing Guns. Anthony Butt teams up with the Rob O'Connell-trained handler in Barrier 2. And Andy Gath, more than likely, will have My Little Bow racing in this race. Andy, I'll start with you. I actually think My Little Bow can win either of the 2 races that he's in. Are you of the same opinion, or am I overrating his form at present?
I've already had this conversation. She used a filly, and you've caught her.
Oh, I did too. Okay, I don't know where else.
Right. No, she's a very old filly taken on older horses, regardless which race she's in, but she's going really good. She's a quality filly. She's probably just below the top fillies that's around, but she's got a good record. She can sort of make her own luck. She's pretty strong, especially over the short distance. But Matty holds all the aces. He's got the good draw. Stablemate drawn behind him, so they're both going to have pretty good. They're going to be pretty tough to beat. So yeah. But if there's a bit of heat early, she'll be right in the race. But if the first quarter's pretty slow, it's going to be hard for her. But I think she's a horse going forward. She's going to win a lot more races.
Yeah. What do you make of our last start effort, Andy? Just quickly at Geelong, had this death seat there, and it might have been a race Geordie got you as well.
Yeah, no, it was. You draw barrier 7 over the mile at Geelong, sitting in the death and not far away, especially against older horses again. So it's it was a really credible effort, and her work's getting better all the time. So she's still on the improve. So yeah, she's definitely got a winning hope, but I think Matty holds all the aces.
I've got a few in that book, Andy. I've got the mind block on My Little Bow. Same with Kai Valley Maven, and also TikTok. I mucked that one up a bit as well. So good luck with My Little Bow there. We'll go to you here, Ants. I'll tell you what, I reckon this is a good horse handler for Robbie O'Connell. He was a really good winner last start there at Maryborough. He won first up from memory in really good style at Ballarat. And then I think he got caught wide there in between at Kilmore, and it was still a really good run. What's your opinions of Handler, and what do you do from Barrier 2?
Yeah, he looks a pretty good horse, Tim. His record's good, and big win last start. So yeah, I've worked him a couple of times at home, and he gives you a feel of a pretty nice horse. He's a big raw horse, and probably still got a little bit to learn, as we've seen last start at Maryborough when he sort of went rough, going to that last bend for a stride or two. But as I said, Matty's got the key there with the 1 and the 8, so I couldn't imagine he'll be handing up to too many. So we'll just come out as good as we can and settle handy, and as I said, it'll be tempo related if we can run Matty down or not. If he cops a bit of pressure, we're probably a chance. And but as we all know at Melton, if you get that easy sort of section or quarter or a half, you're hard to beat off the front. So But it wouldn't surprise me if this horse sort of, I think he's got a little bit of X factor about him.
Yeah, I do too. I really do. I just where he lands in the run. Matty, will come to you here, and Andy's got me that rattled. I've had to click on All Blazing Guns and make sure he is a gelding and he is a he. So I've got that part sorted. I did do some other preparation. I reckon he's won 4 career races, and 3 of them have been from the front. He looks ideally drawn. You'll probably opt to take those tactics again.
Well, it seems to be how he races best. He seems to, like to roll along, and he gives everyone else a chance chasing him because he seems to bowl a pretty even tempo, and that's sort of how he's happiest. So I sort of don't see any reason to change those tactics at sort of in tomorrow night's race. Like, he seems to be, if he's bowling along free, he sort of gives them something to chase, and a lot of the time he's hard to run down. But he's stepping up in grade, and Answer's horse definitely looks like he's a pretty promising horse, and he's won in good time. And Andy's horse, and even the other horse off the back line who runs second to him last start, they're pretty solid horses. And if he overdoes it in front, he's going to be vulnerable late.
Yeah, it's a good race. Went with My Little Bow, just to add a handler, All Blazing Guns in there as well. Good little race. That is race number 9 at 9:29 p.m. Fourth and final question. None of us are in the race, but who takes out a ripper 3-year-old pace? Race 11 at 10:42 p.m. This is a really good race. If you're doing your top 4 numbers, you're sort of forced to leave out a couple of good ones here. I've left out Kiang Hollywood and 40 Love out of my numbers. I'm not thrilled about it, but that's just how good a race it is. I might go straight back to you, Matty. What are your impressions here? There's probably 6 winning chances. I went with Viney, but really, they can just about all win.
Solid race, and I think you'll look back on this race, in 6 months' time, and you'll see some pretty promising horses, and they've progressed through the grades, and anyone with the right run can definitely win this race. But I guess 1 and 8 on the fence at Melton is a big key, and if Hollywood could hold up and 40 Love on his back, I think those two are going to be pretty hard to run down. But it'll probably be what happens early. If Chase can hold up from there, and we've seen him a few times in his races, and at trials look pretty impressive. It's just be whether he starts to put it all together at the races. But depends where he ends up, whether he can hold the front or how much pressure he does cop if he does, as to how he goes. But he's a pretty promising horse from what we've seen. It's just whether he can sort of produce it in a race like this.
Yeah. I'll come to you, Ants. Look, I don't know, speed map's interesting. I don't know, Crocodile Sock's got good toe. You would think they would press forward in an ideal world. Johnny Justice has been going forward there. So there's a bit happening early. I don't know. Can you land the winner here? It's near on impossible, I reckon.
No, I think you just about got to get the dart out and see where it lands. There's a few aggressive drivers off the front, so there might be a bit of action that first sort of 200-300 metres. So, but excuse me, as you said, probably most of the field could win with the right setup. So I haven't really got a definite opinion, but as I said, if in doubt, take the top weight.
Yep, wise. So Kiang Hollywood for you, maybe if I had to force you on it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Andy, I'll come to you. We're all a bit sort of up in the air. Maybe you can give us a definitive answer here. For the record, I'm going to go with Viney. I thought he trialled well. I thought his last start effort in a weaker race at Geelong was incredible to get so close after galloping at the corner. I think he's a pretty smart horse, Viney, but he's got a difficult barrier. How do you see it here?
Yeah, a bit like everyone else, a bit difficult, but I reckon Crocodile Socks will find the lead. I think get a bit of heat early from, in an ideal world, from John Justice. So I like Calexio. I'll get it out properly as a horse. I think even though he's drawn bad, he can sort of make his own luck, and he's been racing against older horses back to 3-year-old company. So I think he's the one to beat. Yeah, and he did sit parked in a good 3-year-old race, didn't he, and won. Andy, I reckon was your horse had its first start for you, Miles McBarney, in that race. Yeah, no, he did. He's a quality horse. He's got a good record, and he can also come off speed as well. So, but it's a tricky race. Forced to have a pick. That's my pick.
Okay, righto, good stuff. Righto, Sharps Bakery, best bets time. Haven't had you on for a while, Matty. I can't. What was your last best bet? Did it get up or not?
I wouldn't have a clue, to be honest with you, Tom. I can't remember. It wouldn't have been. I'm a terrible tipster, so it wouldn't have been much. I wouldn't have think.
Well,
Texas, yes.
Yeah. Well, your brother. Last time your brother was on, he found us one better isolated. I reckon $12 or $13 at the time. Can you do something like that for us, please?
Well, it'd be nice if Bluey could do something like that, but I think that sort of race doesn't map anything like that, so it could be pretty tough. Yeah, just on what I thought the map was, Brizzy and Artis, there'd be no value, but just was going to get the right run.
Yeah, okay. $4 is all right, though. So Prison Artiste, I think it's a good one. Good play for Mattie Craven. Ants, your last best bet on here. Do you remember yours? Have you had much success?
Would have won, top for sure.
Right, we'll go with that.
I can't remember.
It was $20, I think it was, by memory.
Yeah. I'll go with Handler, even though we've got to beat Maddie's. But I think he's a pretty good horse, and if he doesn't win this week, he'd be one to follow anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a nice horse. Race 9, number 2, Handler for Ants. Andy, we've got a big hand to play on Saturday night with your team. Are you going to put all the trust in one of those horses?
Well, I do remember what my last best bet was, and it was What's Up Party Time, and he got the job done. So I'll go head-to-head with Matty. I'll go for What's Up Party Time.
Well, there was a reason I didn't ask you, Andy, because I knew that. And I didn't want to give you a chance to gloat.
Well, I was only on 2 weeks ago. These are only on every now and then.
My best bet didn't win last week. I'm pretty sure of that because I had a shocker. I have got one here, though. This is, well, we're only a few days into June, but this is the bet of the month. This is the bet of the month, and it is race 4, number 9, Sweet Ideal. You can get 220 at the moment. This horse will just sit handy, and Darryl Lawler will go bang and rip out one of those, mid, maybe high 25 quarters and go straight past them all here. So my best bet, race 4, number 9, Sweet Ideal. Matty, really appreciate it. Have you got a winner tonight or anywhere else in the coming days?
We Melton, pretty tough, and then we head to Warragul on Monday for the Trotters Cup first up. So that'll be a big ask as well, and then off to Horsham Wednesday. So could be a tough week, but if we're thereabouts, we'll be more than happy.
Good stuff. Ants, you got a winner tonight for us?
I got a few drives, but I don't think there's anything special there, and I just make sure I've got to be still awake at 11:15 when the last is run.
Yeah, she's a late finish. Andy, tonight?
Yeah, I've got no runners, and I'll be sound asleep when the last race is on at Melton tonight.
You're not going to put SEN track on and have a listen to me?
No, I'll be asleep a lot early if I do.
I'm going to start put you to sleep. That's been Burning Question. Thanks, Matty. Thanks, Ants. Thanks, Andy. And it's a big race, a big night of racing at Melton. Tomorrow night, 11 races on the card. The first set to go at 4 minutes past 5.
Green light, they're away.
And they're all in their positions, ready to go. There's the light up.
In true Mildura stock.
The green light's on. It was a beautiful start.
He's trying to get